Dave here with Half Dozen Customs, back out here for a little Monte Monday action. So we left off last week with getting this outside stuff all welded up, the trunk lock, getting this new lower skin section welded in and ground down, and we got the inside tacked in. I don't remember if I videoed that or not. It actually came back on Tuesday the following day, and I tacked this guy in place just so that it was tacked in. I think I recorded it, but I'm not sure. But we got that tacked in, and then last night, before I closed up shop for the night, I was working on the Jeep doors over here. I've already got the welder out, and I haven't cleaned up my mess from last night, but we need it all for today. So but I came in, before I went in for the night, I brought the trunk lid over here, and I cleaned up this new piece set we put in. It had some surface rust on it already again. So I cleaned that up with the wire wheel, and we sprayed that with some 2-in-1 last night so that it could sit overnight. Now we need to go in and weld this all up and then fold over these edges. So I wanted to get this painted last night, so that way when we fold over these edges, it's all painted. There's no bare metal in there or anything like that. So yeah, I think where we're at right now is we need to wire wheel up this seam and get all the paint off of it so that we can weld it up. Get that welded up. Being the inside, I'm probably not going to like spot weld cool. We're just gonna weld it. I'll probably weld like a 1-inch stitch, and then we'll move over here. We'll do that again, and we'll try and get it knocked out fairly quick. Being that it's the inside, I'm really not too worried about it. There's lots of bends. There's lots of body lines in here that are gonna help keep everything from warping. Not to say that we're not gonna warp it, because I'm gonna apply some heat to it today, but it shouldn't be too bad. And being the inside, I'm really not too worried about it. So whatever body work we got to do in here, we'll do, and it'll look good when we're done, and that's all that really matters to me, being the inside, is that it looks good when it's done. So I'm gonna grab the wire wheel. We'll start getting that paint cleaned off, and like I said, I got the welder out. We'll start welding. Just putting some extra tacks in there. We only had a few going across. Okay, so we got that piece welded in. Now, you know, as you can see, I did not paint the back side of that piece when I put it in. The piece was so small, by the time we would have welded around it, it would have just burned all the paint off. So, no sense in, you know, painting it. So, now, we can start grinding and cleaning everything up. We'll be back to get this stuff grinded up. I think what we may do is we may grind up just the edges here where our folds are going to go over. And then we'll go ahead and we'll hammer and dolly and fold everything over. And then we'll come in and we'll grind all this. Just because we're going to be hammering on it and beating on it. And, you know, if you guys are fellow car builders, and you know, if you're not, then, you know, maybe you'll learn something here. But MIG welding is a very hard weld. And if you grind all this down nice and flat and you get it thin, and then you're hammering and beating on that area or very near that area, which we will be, there's a chance of cracking it. So if we wait to grind it till after we're done beating on everything, then we know that nothing's going to crack. So I'm thinking we'll just grind a couple of edges, then we'll hammer and dolly and beat everything over. Then we'll come in, we'll grind everything down, we'll get it cleaned up. And then I would say that we can start body work at that point, which we may, just on the inside, maybe with some Marglass. But I think before we get too crazy with body work and anything on this, we need to remove that latch, because now we don't have a way to get in. Actually, I could probably get in through the back seat, but anyways, remove that latch, put this trunk lid back on the car, and put the bumper back on, and just make sure that our new piece here, like, isn't, you know, sitting out. You know, if we got to tweak, bend, pull, hammer on this to make it fit the car, I'd rather do it before all the body work's done. So, but yeah, that's where we're headed. Like I said, let me get some stuff together here to grind this up, and we'll be right back. Okay, so we got those grinded out. Now the next thing, so normally when I do stuff like this, normally what I do is I'll pull this edge up a little bit. Make sure you guys are looking at what I'm looking at. So I'll pull this edge up a little bit, and we'll fold this end over. And we'll do the same thing over there. We'll pull this edge up a little bit and we'll fold this end over. Then we'll fold the bottom edge all the way over. And then normally I come back with the whiz wheel and I cut through the corner of both pieces, this piece and this piece, so that we have a nice straight edge, so that you don't have an overlap of the two metals. But if you look at how this is done from the factory, like there is a huge gap on both sides. So what I'm gonna do, is I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna cut these corners off right now with the whiz wheel, and then we can fold them over, and if we need to trim a little more off, we can do it once it's smashed shut. Okay, so as you can see, we cut those corners off. And like I said, we can, once we get it smashed over, we can make it match the other side. But it's a start. So this isn't the hammer that you should be using for this. They actually have a door skin hammer. Harbor Freight just started carrying them. So have not went and got one yet, but it's on my list of stuff to get. So if you're looking for an actual door skin hammer, Harbor Freight has them. Let's see. When you're folding these edges over like this, don't just try and like whammy the thing over. Work it up and down slowly, going back and forth until you get it. So you'll be able to see here. So I don't know if you guys can pick it up in the camera, but there's a little bit of a dippy-do in here. It's not perfect. This side's worse. So this side has a bigger dip in it. Not a huge deal. What I will do afterwards, when we get this all hammered shut, I'll come back with my whiz wheel. We'll clean up the inside edge so that it's nice and straight. And then when we go to weld it up, I'll add a little bit of weld along this edge that we can grind down and clean up and make it perfect. So it's close. Close is good enough for me. Should have did that on that side too. I forgot. That thing's back to being strong again. Now this is the edge that like I want to check and make sure that we line up with the new bumper. I mean, like looking across this, like it looks pretty good. I'm happy with it. We might be right on. you know, when we were making the inside piece and the outside piece, you know, I tried to make sure that everything lined up decent. You know, we still have that little bit of that dip in our weld on the skin out here. You know, wasn't much I could do about it. I mean, there was. We could have cut this back farther and hammered and dollied it out from the inside and then welded everything back in. But we would have been getting into all these body lines in here. Like I said in prior videos, I'll be on the lookout for another trunk. Or maybe I won't. Maybe this one will work out just fine for us, but not too worried about it. So I'll show you guys. It looks good. We do still gotta come in and, you know, clean up these corners. So on a normal like door skin, like that would be fine. I'd be okay with that. That's normally like when I fold everything over, like I was saying, and then I'll come back with the whiz wheel and I'll cut it. That's about what you get a little cleaner when you do it the way, like I said, fold over, and then cut. You get a cleaner look. But that's very similar. But we will go back in and we will cut this so that it's wider, like the other side. So I guess we can go ahead and do that. Okay, I think that's better. We are opened up now like the other side. It all gets seam sealed anyway, so you won't ever see it. Just a peace of mind that I make it match. So we also need to make sure, if you look at any of those edges, all these corners here are rounded on the factory side. So we will go in with the grinder and we'll round those up so that they match. And then when we're welding, I'll weld up this edge so that it's the same thickness as everything else, instead of just a flat piece of sheet metal there. You know, we'll make it look like it's supposed to look by using a little weld. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about right here. So let's see, get you right there. So if you can see where we just cut and we grinded there, it's just a piece of sheet metal there now on the corner, and it's like that on both sides. But if you look over here at the factory side, you don't see that. It's thick all the way around because they actually took the metal and folded the metal over, which is, it's doable, but it's hard to do and hard to get it right. Not that it can't be done, but if you goof it up, you're gonna end up doing this anyways. So I just choose to put a little weld there instead. By the time I'm done, you won't notice it, and like I said, it gets seam sealer and all that stuff. So another thing that I didn't break it out on this. I could have. It probably would have looked a little nicer. Maybe we can still run it through there. But what I have here is it's called the skin zipper. And what it is once you start to get this folded over and you get it started, this goes into an air hammer, and you run this along with the air hammer, and it puts a factory look on it, because it pinches tighter at the bottom than it does at the top, and it actually puts this like nice bead across the top. Guess we can do it real quick. I'll show you guys. It works really good. I use it with doing door skins. When you gotta run the whole length of the bottom of a door. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can pick it up in the edges of the light, but like it pinches this side down tight, and it leaves like a bubbled edge going all the way across here, which is just like the factory side does. You know, I don't know if you guys can pick it up in the light here either, but it's like it's pinched tight along the bottom, and then it leaves a bubbled edge on the top. So it gives you that factory look. That's an awesome tool to have. Like I said, you got to get it started by hammering and dollying first. I totally didn't even, a space cadet didn't even think of using it. But like right here, I have a hammer mark that didn't, you know, it was hammered too much. But if you hammer it so far and then you use that thing to finish it, like you won't have hammer marks in it. So, but it took a lot of the hammer marks out except for that one right there. So, you know, we'll have to fix that in body work or leave it alone. It doesn't really matter. It's on the inside. You'll never see it unless the trunk lid's open. Which on this car, chances are the trunk lid will be open because it's going to have a stereo system and stuff in it. So, you know, at car shows, we'll probably open up the trunk so people can see in there. You know, for this vehicle, they remake all the new trunk interior. You can order it brand new. So our plans, it's only like $250, and it's everything. It's new carpet on the bottom, new spare tire cover. It's got the new side walls. And I believe there's a new back wall as well that goes like behind the seat. But you'll never see that once the stereo system's in there. We'll still put it in, but it'll help add some sound dampener. But my plan with this is with the stereo system, I know we're getting like way ahead of ourselves even talking about a stereo system, but Colleen has a set of 10-inch PPIs, which were, I don't know if they were ever in this car, but she had them at the same time period. She had them in her daily driver when she had this as well. So we're going to be putting those 10-inch PPIs in there. They're from the 90s. I know this is an 80s car, but when she had this in the 90s, you know, it's the same time period that she owned the two together. So we're going to be putting the 10-inch PPIs in there. I have some old school amps that we're going to put in with those 10-inch PPIs. I'm going to track down an old you know, maybe a Pioneer or Kenwood where the face flips down or drops down, and they have I used to have a Pioneer back in the day that had the dolphins that jumped through the screen, you know, through just a small screen that's like this big. So I'm gonna look for something like that, same time period, to go in here with it. I also have like a digital equalizer that has all the knobs you can push up and down. That's a nice one. It's an expensive one. It's still in the box, but it's from the 90s. So we'll be putting that in here as well. It'll have a very nice, good quality stereo system in it that's from the 90s. So it'll be pretty cool. And then, you know, the box will probably get done in a black leather or pleather. And we'll build side panels that go on each side of it that the trunk arms go down through, so that it's just one wall back there when you open it up. And then maybe like do something on the side behind a piece of plexiglass that the amp's behind lit up or something. It'll be cool. So, like I said, the trunk will be open when I'm done with this thing at car shows, because we're gonna make it look nifty. Alright, well, I'm happy that that's done. Next, like I said, we're gonna grind this all down. And after we get this ground down, either I'll think about it over the next hour or whatnot that we're working on this. Either I'm gonna go dig out the bumper. I think it's in the rafters of my shed out there. Dig out the rear bumper, so that we can put this on and check that. Or I'm gonna put this in the sandblast booth, and we're gonna get it all sandblasted. I know I had said last video or the video before that there was still some spots like around the edges and whatnot that we were gonna sandblast. I was gonna strip the seam sealer. We're gonna sandblast a couple spots. I'm gonna sandblast the whole thing. Reason being, this is the only original piece from the car that's going back on, minus some rough. But the quarters are going to be new, the doors are going to be new, fenders, hood. So I'm going to strip this whole thing. We're going to sandblast this whole thing and start fresh, with bare metal. So, because underneath, you know, this is black, and then underneath that is blue, and then the factory primer and whatnot. So there's already two different paint jobs on the inside of this trunk. So the whole car is going to have one paint job on it. And then, you know, we're going to leave the inside of the trunk with 3 paint jobs on it by the time we're done. I'm going to strip it and, you know, just start with one paint job on the entire car. So, yeah. So I've been thinking about that the last week. We're just going to sandblast everything, inside and out. Start new. We still got to weld up this from the lock. There's all these holes from somebody had a trunk light zip tied in there. We got to weld those up as well. We can do that after it's all sandblasted. It's not a big deal. Or we could do it now. I don't know. We'll think about it. I'm gonna take I don't know what time it is, but I'm gonna take a break, and I'll see you guys back here to do some grinding. All right, we're back out here after break and lunch and whatnot. We're getting ready. I'm gonna weld up where our fold over meets on both sides, and we're gonna weld up these corners and get that ready to go. Probably weld up these holes in here. Off camera, I did, remember how I was saying these edges that we'll put some welds on them so that they line up. I was able to use a screwdriver on this side, on the inside of the edge, and tap them over so that everything lines up now, and we don't have to weld up that edge. So yeah, let me get the welder set up again. I kind of put everything away earlier, and we'll weld that stuff up and then get to grinding. Okay, I think we got everything welded up. Let me fill up the compressor. I haven't been keeping the compressor full because if I keep it full, it leaks and makes for a bad video. So I've been kind of filling it up and using it and then draining it so that you guys don't hear the noise. I think tomorrow the part is supposed to be here for it that's causing it to leak. It's a little ball valve that's in there. But we'll be back. Okay, see what I'm talking about, the air compressor leaking? Let's get to grinding. My bad, I moved you guys over there. All I did was run over this with some 80 grit. I moved you over there and didn't pick the camera back up. So I hit this area with some 80 grit on my little grinder. And then our little rain hole there, I went in there with a little rotary router bit thingy and just cleaned that up a little bit. I think everything looks good. I'm happy with everything. Darn it, I still don't have my watch on. So I think next it's time to start sandblasting it. Which I won't be doing any videoing of the sandblasting because I don't want the camera in there with me while I'm doing it. You know, when I was sandblasting outside when it was nice out, you know, I didn't mind having you guys in the area because I could set you way back. But being in that little room that I built, I can't set you guys back far enough to be out of the line of fire. So I don't want my camera getting sandblasted. Nor do I want it filled up with all that sand and dust either. So you know what we could do? We could wire wheel all this seam sealer out of here before we sandblast. That's something that we can do. Alright, we got that all cleaned out. It looks pretty good. A couple spots where there was some rust underneath it, but not too bad. We'll take care of that when we sandblast. It's still early, it's only, I think it's like 7:45, so I'm gonna take this over into the other room and get to sandblasting. I'm just trying to think here. You know, maybe I'll be able to get the inside of this sandblasted. It usually takes me like something this size. You know, it takes me a few hours to get the inside sandblasted, and then it'll take me another few hours to get the outside sandblasted. So we'll have to see how much I get done tonight, and then you know, see where we end up next Monday. Maybe I'll work on it a little bit, you know, each night. You know, maybe just spend an hour sandblasting before I call it a night. So that way next Monday, you know, we have a fresh bare metal piece to start with. And hopefully next week, we'll be able to test fit the trunk and the rear bumper, just to make sure that everything lines up good. Just by looking at it, everything looks good to me, but we won't really know until we get it on the car and actually check it with, you know, the bumper, maybe the tail lights. But Yeah, so I think this is where I'm going to end the video tonight. I'm going to continue to work on it. Maybe I'll do a check-in at the end of the night showing you guys where I ended up at with the sandblasting. And if I do some work on it throughout the week to get everything sandblasted, maybe I'll do some check-ins with that as well. And hopefully next Monday we can move on to hopefully some body work. Like I said, I want to test fit everything, but once it's all test fitted and I'm happy with the way everything fits, then we're going to start on some body work. Colleen did drive out yesterday to out to the Chicagoland area and stopped at the paint shop while she was out there and picked me up some more primer. So we have everything that we need to get everything around here primed as we go. So we got some primer now for the hood or the roof. We got some primer for this. Got primer for the Jeep that I'm working on. Yeah. So I'll see you guys in the check-ins. Have a good night. Remember to like, subscribe, share, leave a comment. I'm out. Let's get to it. Alright, I'm closing up shop for tonight. It's 10 o'clock. I think we sandblasted for, I don't know, hour and a half or so. Got a good portion of it started. We'll probably continue on, like I said, like an hour a night. So I'll do some check-ins with you guys. Have a good night. I'm out.